It's Speaking with Gravity. I'm your co-host, Kervin,
I'm D.
I'm Ty.
and we are a mental health podcast where we talk about how everything affects everything. I am a brother, I'm a son, I'm somebody's husband, I'm a little bit of everything, but I'm also a therapist. And as we talk about therapy and the things that we do and how mental health affects us, just remember, this is not therapy, it's a podcast. So now we're gonna go over to our episode. Oh no, we're not gonna do an episode. We got guests. We got guests in the building.
Yes.
I'm gonna let them introduce themselves so I don't mess it up. I'm trying to figure out who I want to go with first. I'm gonna go with He got a shirt on, so I guess I got to go with him first.
Smelling that smoke.
Mr. Smell My Smoke. Go ahead.
My name
Introduce
is
yourself.
Todd Damon, the owner of Smell My Smoke Barbecue and Catering out of Greenwood, South Carolina.
All right. And my man next to me.
My name is Craig Logan. I'm the founder and executive director of BIC Solutions. BIC simply stands for Because I Can, and we are an educational consulting company.
All right. And we got these two guys on here to discuss this topic that we're gonna have on today. But before we get into that, we're gonna do what we call Twitter discussions, where we pull something either from Twitter or some other social media, and just dialogue about it for a second. D, you got that one.
All right. So our Twitter discussion for today is a post that was made by Miss Josie Pickens. It says, "I am tired of being tasked with applauding black men for finally growing up. Way too late," in parentheses, so y'all know she meant what she said, and seemingly every damn time at the expense of black women's mind, bodies, and souls. What say ye? So y'all tell us what y'all think about that discussion.
Don't really jump at one time. For me, my thought when I saw that was we all learn at a different rate. I am where I'm at now. I am where I'm at now. I wasn't always like this, and it took me those experiences to get here. If you was a part of that, so be it. I hate that, I might have hurt somebody along the way, but the way I had a choice to do some negative stuff. You had a choice not to be a part of that negativity that I was giving out if I gave it out to you. So, for this person that's saying this, how often did she stay there for the long haul? And is that why she bitter? Hey, it's on you. Especially if I'm being honest. Now, don't y'all leave me out here.
Let's say ye. I initially thought that she's bitter. I don't necessarily think every black man grows up when he's 40, right? We do have the statistics of those who, mature later in life. But I think too as well, like that maturity comes in different phases. So it could have been like an emotional maturity. But I mean, as far as the idea of being a provider or just going out, getting there, hustling, I just be interested in like the selection of guys she's been dealing with. Really. I think that's more of a personal. It sounds like more of a personal, like experience that she's had in the past to me.
Yeah.
Well, y'all answer for me. It do sound like a personal, you know what I'm saying? So, she been building that up for a long time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and she said she tired.
Yeah, she's
tired.
She tired of applauding black men, and then she put a lot of people in there. But again, we have our experiences. We have our experiences to get to the point we at. Do you want to say something in her defense?
What say ye? I'm not gonna speak in her defense, nor am I gonna speak of opposed to her. I think there's a lot behind this post. I think it it goes with bitterness, but I think there's some more behind that bitterness, and I think it's a defense mechanism as well, because I do think, and I hear what you guys saying, sometimes we expose ourselves to people who intentionally hurt us, whether they know it consciously or unconsciously. And so I go on about that, but it really just a lot behind that post. I felt what sis was coming from, but I think it's a different way of expressing that, because I think it's important that we applaud our black men, especially in a society that constantly breaks them down. So that's really needed, because everybody needs to be feel supported and empowered in some mechanism. So I felt what sis was saying, but I think she could have said it a little bit different.
Yeah, before Ty jump in here, I want to say too, sometimes we as men are just being hard-headed.
Right.
We do know better. We've been taught, and we just choose to be hard-headed. Now, if you reinforce that hard-headedness by not taking yourself away from us or giving us what we want, that is on you.
Right.
And that allows us to be hard-headed a little bit longer. So, yeah.
I just think, honestly, again, she has a right to feel however she feels based off of her experiences with black men. But to me, it's a little vague, because she's saying black men, with applauding black men for finally growing up way too late. What does finally growing up entail? You know what I'm saying? Are we talking about from an emotional standpoint, financial standpoint? Yeah. What does that mean? So it's a little gray for me. But I ain't going to sign up to do anything that I don't want to do. So again, it's definitely personal, you know, because she said, I am tired of being tasked. So it's a good thing that she didn't generalize all black women, you know, because I ain't signing up for something that I don't want to do. But like they say, it's definitely important to praise and applaud particularly my man and other black men that I know who are excelling and who are finally growing up, because we all grow at different stages of life. And I think that's where you have to take into account an individual's upbringing, you know. So what may be too late for you may be the right time for that individual. So
I want to bookmark what you said. We got to come back, maybe not on this episode, maybe another one. But when you said what is growing up, that's kind of deep.
It was deep.
Yeah, what is growing up? You know, I went to college right out of high school, so I appeared to be grown up, but I wasn't.
Right.
And then I had to learn how to manage money. I had to learn how to protect and provide. Even though I had those examples in front of me with my dad, I still had to learn how to do it.
And you had to choose to do it too.
Yeah.
Every day is a growth. You know, every day is a growth. You just can't say I'm grown. Everybody can learn something every day for growth. So.
All right, sister. Well, to Miss Josie, peace and healings to you on your journey.
Oh yeah, and I
Again,
think
we don't
she's a
know your
writer.
story.
I think she's a writer. I got this from an article that was written about Jay-Z and his whole the last album he did, and he was talking about cheating and stuff like that. So she wrote that in there about his progression.
Okay.
Like everybody's applauding him on his progression, but like, how old is he?
Right.
You know, although he didn't just now grow up, but yeah, that's where that came from. But yeah, she definitely got some heat behind her on that one. All right, so next up, they kind of set us up for this episode that we're going to talk about. Ty's going to give us that quote of a data of the hour.
So the QD of the hour, this is just another version of our fun facts, which is just information for you to be able to give to your family, friends, colleagues, coworkers, church members, whoever. Research indicates that children whose caretakers express warmth and are predictably responsive tend to form an attachment marked by a list of positive traits. These children have high levels of self-esteem, trust, emotional stability, resilience, and tend to be free from anxiety. They are also empathic, compassionate, and form friendships easily in childhood and intimate relationships as adults.
So she said all that to say, to some degree, there's an argument out there that we are a product of our environment, good or bad. You can grow up from a churchy background, I lie myself, or with a violent background. Your environment consists of your parents, peers, where you grew up, and the era you grew up in. 80s, 90s baby right here. It is often argued that our goals and decisions are heavily influenced by other people and our environment. When we rep where we are from, are we in agreement that we are who we are because of where we are from. So the topic today is where I'm from, a product of my society. What is, well, first of all, let me back up. Craig, tell me where you from.
Greenwood, the wood. You know it.
And Mr. Smell My Smoke, where you from?
Sumter, South Carolina, low country.
Oh, low country. What did you learn, or what did you gain from being from Sumter?
That game?
Yeah, what you learned, what you gained, how did it make you who you are?
I was
Who
born
you
and
is.
raised. It made me the man I am. Yeah.
Okay.
So, it come with the streets, you get good education, and you're also a gamecock, you dig?
Oh man. No. But being in the lower state, is that different from the low country? Is it different from the upstate?
Way
In your opinion?
Way
I
different.
mean, how
Man, we like rice. Where I'm from. Y'all just want vegetable and meat. We like meat and rice and gravy.
I
Now-
like rice.
And you actually stay in the low country
I was
now.
gonna say, so it's interesting because you grew up down there and now you're here. I grew up in Greenwood and now I reside in Charleston. too,
Crazy.
so.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely find a
Short term.
difference in just growing up in the upstate, and I work with youth in Charleston, so it's a way different set of youth that you're dealing with. It's a lot more city life as well versus a lot of country, and so for me, leaving Greenwood going to Charleston was like, okay, it's a lot more out here in South Carolina.
You're right.
And so I definitely got to experience a lot. And like I said, just working with the youth, you see youth in Charleston grow up a whole lot faster than you see in Greenwood.
Do you see some of the same stuff
Absolutely.
with the youth? I mean,
Yeah. I mean, I think some of the same issues, just that any youth are going to just handle anywhere, that's finding yourself, just being accepted, working amongst peers, peer pressure, influences. I think all those are going to, I think that happens wherever you are just for youth, because that's just a point of you trying to find yourself. You're still figuring stuff out about your life, what you don't like, what you do like. So I don't necessarily think that changes it, but I do think it adds another layer to it because you could be exposed to a whole lot more in a more city life.
so just flat out, Todd, are you who you, as Jay-Z say, man, you are who you are when you got here. To me, when I hear that, I hear like I'm made up this way. No matter where you drop me, no matter where you put me in the world, that's who I am. Would you say it's more like that, or is it more environment?
It's more like that, because who I am. You could put me anywhere,
On God's green earth, and I
Yes.
triple my work.
and something built me. So I can't change for nobody else. I could be me. I talk a little fast, I stutter a little bit, but at the end of the day, I'm still me. Take it or leave it.
What you think?
I agree. I think we are definitely shaped by our environments. I think regardless of where you are, a lot of the foundational stuff in which you learn growing up, you learn during your youth and adolescent years, I think those things are what grounds you. I think experiences give you the opportunity to, shape and, maybe add on or, strengthen some of the weaknesses that you may have or that you may not have had an opportunity to be exposed to growing up in a smaller city. But I think the foundation of who you are definitely is shaped by where you are raised.
So that being said, financially, I would say African Americans are not as well off as other people. So is that because of how we built? Yeah, because it's. I feel like you saying more environment, and Todd, I feel like you saying more genetics. All right. So then, if we're not financially stable, or we don't know how to. I don't even want to say we don't know how to take money and flip it, because to some degree you see that, but then like, who owns most of everything?
Well, you got to think about, as being a black man, black people had a lot.
Had.
And still have. We still have, It just, you have to choose where you're going to put it.
That's it.
What you mean?
What I mean is that you a millionaire in my eyes, but you don't see it.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So I could be a $1 man to you, but you're a $1 million man to me. You did?
Okay. You just know.
It get deeper.
You know, went all abstract on me.
I got you.
Ty and D, help me out here. What do y'all say about it, as far as just nature nurture versus nurture? That's how we learned it in school.
Right. I think I'm in agreement with Craig. I'm originally from Gaffney. Shout out to the Big Peach. It's Gaffney.
Okay. Is that considered lower state, upstate? This upstate.
It's upstate. Yeah,
Okay.
but not to be confused with Spartanburg. Those are two separate areas.
They're the same to me.
Yeah. So born and raised. Let me correct that. Born in North Carolina, basically raised from birth. I think my mom may have moved 2 days later or whatever, but born and raised, in my opinion, in Gaffney, and stayed there till I came to college. I really do think Gaffney shaped who I am, because there was a lot of things I experienced in Gaffney and really taught me how to respond to some situations. But that person evolved when I relocated from that area. It showed me that there was more to the world than what I had just saw, and that everybody didn't live how I lived. Everybody didn't, consider family like I consider family. Like, I call somebody my sister and we ain't blood, but for a lot of people, that's strange to them. But for me, that's what it's always been. That's how I've always been. And it's nothing. Everybody in Gaffney is cousins, whether you really blood related or not. Everybody cousins.
Right.
And so those principles, I believe, helped me later on in life, because to me, when I connect with a person, that's family. We not just friends, that's fam. So if you need me and I need you, that's how we roll. And I think those foundationals, they carry me wherever I go now. So I'm like Mr. Todd, I can go anywhere and I'm going to still be true to myself. But I do think because I was able to see different places, I went to Charleston for a little bit. Shout out to my Charleston people. Miss Judy and Mackenzie for carrying me. It really exposed me to difference. Charleston taught me I ain't all that, because they don't play down there. They're a little bit more rougher down there in Charleston when you from up here. Low country, they different. They take stuff more literal. Let me just say that.
Loyalty.
Yeah, they don't play. They stick to their own, and until you prove yourself, you're an outcast. And so that's one of the things that I really appreciate, though, because I appreciate just being that exposure. So I definitely can feel where both of them are coming from. I think genetics and environment it does a lot for people.
What you say, Ty?
I'm from Greenwood.
Yep.
Born and
The wood.
raised. Right. I believe it's a combination of both, and I know through our profession there's been a lot of conversations about what nature versus nurture, particularly in cognitive development. And gene activity plays a role in it. I'm not going to say that it doesn't, but I guess as I get older and evolve, like Craig said, definitely my environment had and has an influence on the individual that I am now. But my experiences also came just through personal evolution, evolving, going to different places, being exposed to different things, and taking from those experiences to, evolving to the individual that I am. So I think it's a combination of both, but I guess definitely that more innate quality, knowing who you are. And as you continue to, to evolve, although my environment has shaped the individual that I am. I think also too, now knowing just because I am in a certain environment doesn't necessarily mean I do certain things. I don't really know how I'm trying to articulate.
I have to become
it.
a part of that environment. I got
Yeah,
you,
in a
yeah.
sense, because I feel like I am a part of the environment, though. I still am a part of the environment. However, just because these things are going on in my environment, I'm not going to say they don't affect me, but obviously they do, to where I'm moving differently. So I don't know. Because you can have people within the same environment
Who excel.
You're right, and I think that goes back again to that innate quality. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like who I am, but it definitely shapes it. You know what I mean?
I feel like
Yeah.
that innate thing that you keep referring to. That's our foundation. Like we have a foundation of a person that's resilient. We have a foundation of somebody who maybe have an open mind or something like that, but then it's brought out by your environment. Like, I think I'm a comedian. I think I'm outgoing, but I didn't think that growing up. I was kind of like, very, very quiet, very shy. And then once I got out and experienced, other little things, you got people, the environment. I said something about reinforcement earlier. Sometimes your environment reinforces things that you have innately that wasn't necessarily brought out, and then you're reinforced. People laugh at me, I'm gonna keep telling them jokes, whether they really whack or not. If people laughing, I think I'm funny, or I think I'm cool. Once he's tired, looking at me. He like, man, when is you gonna stop about this? But your environment ultimately, I think I kind of just said it. It reinforces or brings out things through reinforcement of things that you do. You about to say something?
I think it also is key what Ty was talking about, exposure, because I think that shifts a lot of things. Sometimes you can't change your environment, but you can still be exposed to a lot of different things. Like, growing up in the household, there was so many things. Like, if you'd have asked me about sushi when I was younger, nobody in my household ate sushi. So
You eat sushi?
yeah, for real, yeah. And so, but when I got older, I got exposed to something, and I realized sushi is a whole different beast. It's and it's not just one type of sushi. So, most people just refer to it as raw, but it's cooked sushi. It's different stuff, and it's really dope. Like, I really like it. But again, I never had that exposure. So this whole time, I'm going thinking that's beneath me or that's something I wouldn't do. But it's just a whole different world when you get that exposure. And I think that's the difference of what we do is our experiences and our environment shape us, but that exposure creates our mind, and that allows us to advance. That allows us to bridge. That allows us to go beyond what we see every day.
Especially that smoked salmon in it.
That's it. Yes.
When you said that, it was leading me to a question. I don't know if I'm gonna phrase it correctly, but growing up, you would hear is 1, 2, 3, 4% of black people that are engineers or psychologists, but then you go to the NBA and it's like 86% of us. Is that genetics or is that environment? And then a little bit of it you kind of answering because you like exposure. How many times are we exposed to being an engineer? How many times are we exposed to being a psychologist? This platform is kind of good because you can have different people on here and then actually expose them in that way or that shape, form, or manner. But it's real. Exposure is really big. When y'all say that, that's a big deal. You don't think about all the jobs that's in the world that we can do, but yet we kind of fall on being teachers, being athletes, or whatever else that we commonly do. And then, me and you talk about all the time not being monolithic. It seems like we're monolithic because we're not exposed to X thing out there or whatever. But, yeah, I just want to throw that in. I ain't even asked the question. But when you said exposure, that just had my mind running with that one. How do y'all feel about the environment being created? I think, Ty, you alluded to the fact of environment within an environment. So you can be in a situation where there's violence, or you can be in a situation where the economics are not as great, and still come out excelling? Is it because I keep going back to this? Is it because of the environment within that environment being your home, or is it because you're so innately like I'm determined to make it out, like willpower? I'm gonna will myself to this.
And we got two business owners here, so let them explore what made it different for.
What made it different? I mean, I think just when you were asking the question, I kind of revisit my time right after school where I served as a director of a leadership academy. And this was in Charleston. It was in a particular area in Charleston that has the highest child poverty rate per square capita in South Carolina. So you think about violence, you think about, again, very low educational backgrounds. It's similar to Greenwood in a sense in some areas, right? But in this academy, you know, exposure was the number one piece that we used to allow the kids to understand that what you see around you is not your ending process. And so that exposure came from going just out to eat, going on college tours. Every spring break, we would take a spring break tour. And I think what that does for them is, you know, although I am in this environment, but I think it gives them the ability to dream and understand that, man, all I got to do really is tap into what I want to do. And I think even me, myself as well, just growing up within Greenwood, and I think the process of becoming a business owner, no one in my family was a business owner, you know, and for me, it was just about creating that idea, creating the sense of what it looked like, what I wanted it to look like, what I wanted my time, what I wanted my freedom to look like. And a big portion of that was so that my nieces and nephews could see that, hey, you don't necessarily have to be a doctor or a teacher or just the standard quo, but whatever it is that you want to do, you have the ability to do it. And I think presenting a role model, allowing people, you know, being that role model for them so that they can see that. Because again, I necessarily didn't have that growing up. A lot of people in my family were not that, but now I'm not the only one in my family who is a business owner.
Right.
So, you know, I think again, it's just stepping outside of that. And I think that for me, exposure trumps almost everything.
Were you the first business owner?
Yeah.
Okay. And then somebody followed suit.
I was the first business owner, and then I had a cousin who he's now kind of into real estate, and that kind of just it kind of naturally happened. We had kind of talked about it, but now again we have a business owner in the family. We have somebody who's in real estate in the family. So between cousins and nieces and nephews, if it's something that they want to do, I think just providing an outlet,
They believe they can do it.
they can do it. And even if like, okay, they want to go and be a doctor, we may not have doctors in the family, but I think, okay, within my network, I can connect you to certain people who are in that track working and exposing them to that.
Todd, what about you?
What about me?
The will. Was the will brought you out, or a change in environment? Coming up to the upstate, that's what did it? Greenwood.
Nah, the power was there. You know, everyone got a path. A path, I mean. And my path went deep. So when you get tired of being sick and tired, going through the same motion every day, you're going to want better for yourself sooner or later, you know. There's some things, like I said on here, but I'm not choose not to, but smell my smoke, just say it wasn't born. It was in me already. You did. God put, can I use that on here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, absolutely.
All right, so, you know, God put everybody with a talent. You got to figure out what it is. So with my talent, I love to cook. So you see my mother cook. And like, why are you cooking for the whole project? All these people eating all our food up in here, you know. That's something she loved to do. So, you know, it ran through me. So when I got hold to cooking with my grandfather, slaughtering the hogs and all this, I said, okay, then I see what they're doing. But it's got to be in you. Something in you will make you smile. Gonna make you happy doing what you do. Because I'm not going to be happy picking up no canes. I like picking up ribs. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
That's just me. But it's in you. It's deep. It's deeper than what people think. You just got to find what you want to do in life. Like I said, you can go to college, but college sometimes ain't going to help you. Be happy.
Oh, no, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Go ahead, I'm done.
No, it's so crazy that you're saying that because on the way up here, just something that I was just thinking about. When thinking about this was that sometimes your situations look bigger than your purpose. And I think that's something that even once you find your purpose, I think as you evolve and grow into how to necessarily walk in your purpose, that's like a daily thing. That's something that we all go through, even now.
Right.
You know, sometimes our just situation is like, okay, you know, I'm here now. I've done X, Y, and Z, but dang, I just either you may not feel like you're doing enough, or you know, you're not doing it quick enough.
Right.
But I just think like I know sometimes that sometimes it's the case, and that's why again go back kind of that exposure is just saying that exposure piece is super important because if all you see is your situation. Sometimes that situation, and for some people, it does. That for some people, they never get beyond the situation and never really tap into purpose. But yeah, sometimes your situation can cloud purpose.
Well, dude, changing yourself means changing your environment. Do you have to change your environment to change yourself?
Yep. You're going to have to change your circle. You're going to have to change your circle. Not changing yourself, but you have to change the people you with, the family member you with. Because, you know, every family got them people going to hold their hands out. I don't even care. You know, if you got $2 over here, they want $2.50.
You can say
So, you
$2.50.
know, you're going to have to change something about you when you're trying to grow. So.
And the environment would be one of them.
Environment would be one of them.
I agree with Todd, and I think environment, because initially when you said environment, I'm thinking our surroundings,
Physical,
but
right.
Todd is talking, you know, networking, you know, you got to
Right.
really change it. So I think environment on all aspects is super important in order for that growth to happen. Because if you're around dead people, man, and you have a dream, you
They
can
gonna kill
keep
it.
having that dream, but like eventually a little bit every time you go around them and you say you want to do something and they give you a negative comment to it, it's like they chipping away at that dream.
Yeah.
Why you want to do that?
Right. Yeah.
Hey,
You want to go and start a business? I like my regular paycheck coming in, you know.
Come on now.
And like that's honestly, that was a whole conversation I had one time with a good friend. And I understood that, but if I wasn't secure in who I was and my purpose, then I would have went back out and just did the status quo and got the job.
Is that, how do you change? So, all right, I get that. I definitely get that all the way. So how do you change that environment or that network, right? Do you just let everybody go?
No, I think the biggest thing is you learn people's purpose in your life. Everybody can be you don't have to disconnect from every
Right.
single person. You still need people, but you learn what you share with those people. Like I say,
Oh,
all
yeah, that's-
friendships
ooh,
ain't
yeah.
the same,
good.
right?
Yeah.
Everybody can, I got friends, but everybody don't know the same information. Some people can't get the vulnerable side of me because they'll abuse it. So, they still get a portion of me, but they don't get everything about me. Some people's vision is minimal, so I can't share with them everything that I'm working on. And I keep in my mind, I can't be the smartest person in the room. It always has to be somebody in that room smarter than me. Somebody who is not intimidated by the knowledge I already have. Therefore, they're going to use their knowledge and pour into me, whether they realize it or not. So if I
Right.
go in the room and I'm sitting with other people that are already business owners, they're going to pour into me because they're going to be talking about their business, the steps they had to take. If I go into somebody who really ain't even thinking about a business, we gonna probably be looking at MK purses, which is cool because I still like them, right? So I when I want to purse shop, I'm coming for you.
Yeah.
But when I really want to grow myself and expand, I gotta come sit in a different room and a different platform. And I think the most important thing I've learned in life is you can outgrow people, and that's okay. It doesn't mean I have to disrespect you. It don't mean I have to speak ill to your name. I just understand we've shifted. I still can be cordial with you. Just we can't spend extensive time together because I have changed. And when I think about changing your environment, I think that can be physical and mental, right? When you're changing your environment, you really have to change the way you think about your environment. So if I'm still seeing my environment as a place I want to be, then regardless of whether I move physically to a different location, I'm gonna still stay the same. I think what happens is when we move mentally to a different place and then we move to another location and we open ourselves up, creating that exposure, now we change. Now we create this opportunity because you're gonna go with people who are gonna support you. Then you're gonna go with people who don't care nothing about what you're doing, right? People who are gonna talk bad about you. And like Craig said, you still gotta be able to believe in yourself. People who gonna try to tell you you wasting your time. You still gotta be able to say, I might be, but this is what I wanna do and this is for me. Mm-hmm. So I'm setting legacy. I'm changing the things. So that's just my thought.
It's always a season.
Yeah.
It's always a season. It's not like you cutting no one off, because if I'm winning, I want everybody winning who I used to deal with. I'm going to try to encourage them to get better. I was at a place at the bottom. If I'm at the bottom, I'm trying to make everybody grow. If you grow before me, I'm happy. Right. I done done my part in life, you see. That's just me, my opinion. But like I said, everybody do have a season.
Yeah, and I'm a witness to that. He has encouraged me on several levels of just trying to be a business owner. And we didn't even know each other, until 2 years ago? Right. And then just, interacting and being engaged with each other, man. And sometimes he'll call. I'm thinking he called just to trip out. And he calling to give an encouraging words. And that's been big for me, and I appreciate that. And then it goes back to, what you were saying about not being the smartest person in the room, which means you got to be uncomfortable to some degree. You got to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. So you got to, actually start adding people to your network that can help lead and guide you in the direction that you ultimately want to go.
What you just said about you got to get out that comfort. If you're comfortable, you ain't going to grow. Right. You're used to where you at.
Yeah.
I'm not used to where I'm at.
Yeah. I don't want to stay here forever.
Let's eat.
Yeah.
Let's eat
literally. Together. All right, so we're going to come to a closing. Todd, did you want to add something? All right,
I think y'all pretty much hit the nail on the head. Knowing self, when you identify your purpose, because some people, they don't have a purpose. They feel they don't have a purpose. They're not, I guess it's optimistic, and it could be because of the environment that they are in or their surroundings of people who may not see their vision. And being mindful, everybody not going to see your vision. Your vision is your vision, and it's up to you to follow through with it. And like you said, Todd, be mindful. All right, they ain't growing with me. I got to change things a little different, even if I'm still inside my same bubble. I think perception is everything, too. Challenging your thought process, how you view things is important. But yeah, I don't want to repeat everything that's been said, but yeah.
I like how you said your vision is your vision, because everybody's not going to see it. Even though it's plain as day to you, everybody's not going to see that, man.
They're not going to see it.
They can't, because they're not seeing it, they're not going to be able to understand it. If they're not going to be able to understand it, how are they going to be encouraging? And then you mess around and lose out because of that. But I think we kind of covered everything that we needed to cover overall. But before we leave and get out of here, I want to give both Craig and Todd a chance to tell us a little bit more about themselves and what they're doing, and use this platform at this point in time. So, Craig, I'm gonna let you go ahead and start it off.
Check. I'm Craig, man. So, born and raised in Greenwood. I've been working in Charleston now for about 10 years. The sole purpose of what I do is development, youth leadership development. And as I mentioned, I ran the Leadership Academy for about 8 years. And I really got to a point of where I could do it in my sleep. And I wasn't really growing. And I saw people behind me that was ready for growth. So I think another big part of growth is knowing when to transition, knowing when to get out the way too as well. And what that allowed me to do is really focus on being an entrepreneur. One goal of mine before I hit 30 was to be a business owner. And like Todd said, it's already in you. So even with Big, right? I know me, Taisha Jarvie, and Courtney started an organization called Young Difference Makers. And when we talked about that, I used big as an idea for the name. And so it's so crazy because once I really started to really develop big, it came back to me, and it was like it just wasn't the right season for big. So with big, what we do is we encourage young people. We are a social and emotional program. We just ran our first pilot program for an after-school curriculum that I was able to develop with a couple other people. And so
That's in
just
Charleston?
really,
That's
yeah.
in
Well,
Charleston.
it's in Charleston, but honestly, this was online. So
Okay.
the curriculum is maneuverable. We can do it in person or online, especially with the pandemic happening. And so just being able to maneuver from being a coordinator and then being a business owner just was super amazing. And just going through that process. So we just launched our college track program because I found there's a lot of studies or a lot of attention on kids when they're in schools, but when they get out of school, it's just like they're dropped off the edge of a cliff.
Yeah.
Right.
And so our college program, we have 10 students in this cohort. It's our first pilot program. Majority of those students are at Claflin in South Carolina State, and so we are just
HBCU.
we're just assisting them in that. We're plugging them into people in our networks who can assist them with making decisions, about college courses, things they should be doing outside of that, just to really set them up.
So y'all
for success
kind of
outside
follow
of
their
school.
college career.
Yep.
Okay, and then give them a little guidance. Okay, yeah, that's big.
That's
That's real
Right.
big, especially if they're first generation
And
college.
a lot of them are
Yeah.
first generation,
You
so
should-
it's just like FAFSA,
Right.
Yeah.
going through that, figuring that out.
Right, right.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's really cool, and it's just been really, it's been an awesome process. It's been a spiritual process, and I know it's like something that I'm supposed to be doing, So I'm just glad I'm in the right season to be doing that. But you can check us out also on Instagram at Big Solutions, and also on Facebook too as well.
We gonna
And-
have to network.
And you mentioned Young Difference Makers. Are y'all still doing something?
So we do a holiday giveaway every year. It's around December, and so we did one last year. We partnered with Hoop, we call him Hoop, Jamar.
Yeah.
And we did it out there too as well. But again, it's just really just giving back. I think when we started it, the whole purpose of it was just allowing kids from the community to see that you can be from Greenwood, you can go off and do whatever you want to do, but giving back and the service aspect of it is still super important.
I appreciate that. And that's you and Tyler on that, right?
Me, Todd Jarvey,
plug Todd.
Courtney. Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Mr. Smell My Smoke with the T-shirt.
That's right, pal. My name is Todd Damon, the owner of Smell My Smoke Barbecue out of Greenwood, South Carolina. I'm originally from Sumter, South Carolina. I still got to shout my hometown out. I got love for my team. But yeah, I got a lot of people I get a shout out to. My wife is one. She got my back. With a strong man is a strong woman, And my mother, or my team, man, won't be no Smell My Smoke without my team. It's not Todd Damon. It's the whole team. I can call out the names: Lisa, Wendy, Anita, and like he just said, Jamar, Crawford, with Next Level. I help sponsor Next Level lifestyle, and trying to save the youth out the community in Greenwood. And
How can they find you?
you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, or 803-413-8290 at Todd Damon. I Smell My Smoke Barbecue. Or go to Gmail.
Okay. Established 2015. That's what the shirt say.
Yeah, man.
Can I get the shirt too?
You get a shirt, man. I got a hat for you right now, brother.
Oh, okay.
Can we let our viewers see the hat and merchandise that you have?
But I just brought one for
We didn't know the camera, those who
I
may
just
be
brought
tuning
one for
in.
him, but I have to get y'all two ladies one later. I brought Kirby a Smell My Smoke hat.
Nice.
This is what I'm selling for my business. If y'all would like one, you can contact Kirby or myself, or you can inbox me on Facebook or call the number 803-413-8290. I can show the young lady right here. That's just one of the styles and one of the colors.
Yeah, that's
So if
a
you want a
good
hat,
look.
just let me know.
Yeah, that's a real good look. Winston, do we have some shirts back there? What size you say you were?
Large.
Large. And you wear 4X.
I'm a big guy, man. I like 3 of them.
Appreciate it.
All right, and we got couple of shirts here. I think we gave y'all 2 different shirts. The first one, it says meaningful conversations, meaningful dialogue. Difficult conversation, meaningful dialogue, which is what we try to do here on this podcast, and on the back of it to let y'all know that it's a podcast. And that one says sit with the therapist. The conversation is different. And of course, the back says speaking with gravity. We didn't iron it anything like that when planning to put it out there for y'all. But I appreciate y'all for coming on.
And we also have Smell My Smoke.
Oh, see, here we go.
We also have the Smell My Smoke, established 2015 shirts.
All right, we appreciate y'all for coming out and being with us and speaking on this topic of where I'm from. I'm a product of my society. I think we kind of beat a dead horse here with this one. But again, thank y'all for coming out. Y'all could have been anywhere in the world, but y'all here with us, and we appreciate that. Also remember the Gravity Counseling Group provides a BIPOC wellness group every 4th Monday of the month. And subscribe to Speaking with Gravity on Facebook or Instagram. Again, thank you, thank you, thank you. We out.